What's going on, mate? This is Riley Knight from the podcast Half-Arsed History, here to have a bit of a chat with you about the heroes featured in Hidden Cup 5. All the heroes the players are using to hide their true identities are real-life people from history featured as units in various Age of Empires campaigns. And while T90 is an avid history lover, his knowledge and memory of history would pretty firmly make him a historical low elo legend, I think it's fair to say. So he invited me along to tell you a thing or two about these heroes we're watching square off against one another. Let's get to know one of them a little bit better. Vasco da Gama was a Portuguese explorer best remembered for being the first European to ever reach India by sea. He was also a person, you know, it wasn't a ship. He was a living, breathing human being and not an animate, sentient ship, despite what his Age of Empires unit might have you believe. Anyway, born in around 1460, da Gama followed in his father's footsteps in joining the Portuguese military, specifically the illustrious Order of Santiago. And in his 30s, he was deployed by King John II of Portugal to go after French ships that had been attacking Portuguese trade, something that, it turns out, da Gama ended up being very, very good at. And given that he seemed so capable on water, the king gave him a new mission. In 1497, da Gama set sail at the helm of a fleet of 4 ships with the goal of rounding the southern tip of Africa and sailing to India that way rather than going by land. If this were possible, it would transform the Portuguese economy, as they would now be in one of the best positions in Europe to build new sea-based trade routes with the East. The journey was a long and a harrowing one, and despite the Portuguese bonus to their hit points, only 2 of the 4 ships actually made it. But overall, the voyage was a success, mostly, and da Gama was hailed as a hero, bringing home spices that were worth more than 50 times what the expedition had cost in the first place. And so, Portugal opened its trade routes with the East via this long journey around the African continent and set itself on a course towards economic and political dominance throughout the 16th century. And this saw the construction of more Portuguese Feitorias than ever before. Feitorias were, in real life, fortified trading posts that served as markets, warehouses, administrative centres, as well as, of course, just being regular trading posts as well. Their purpose was to support and protect Portuguese trade, and as such were dotted along the coastline of both West and East Africa, as well as the Indian subcontinent, and eventually into South America and even East Asia. So it's interesting that in-game, while they provide a slow trickle of resources that represents the wealth of Portuguese trade, it's interesting that they always get built right at the back of a Portuguese base so they can be defended properly. In reality, you would want to build them as far away from your base as possible. That was the whole idea. They were built to protect trade, not built to be protected. So with that in mind, I can't wait for a patch that's going to bring about the new meta, the post-imp Feitoria rush. You just mark my words, mate. That'll be the next big thing with the Portuguese. I'm sure of it. Anyway, for making this successful journey to India, da Gama was rewarded by King John II with land, money, and a truly ridiculous title, Admiral of the Seas of Arabia, Persia, India, and all the Orient. All right, mate, calm down. Jeez, how's he going to fit that on his business cards? But he wasn't finished there. Da Gama would rise even further through the ranks of the Portuguese nobility and make 3 long ocean voyages in total. His second voyage in 1500 was less successful. He was disgraced after failing to subjugate the kingdom of Calicut and build a Feitoria there. Thinking about it, maybe the Feitoria rush isn't going to be as successful as I first thought, especially if opponents adopt the Freak and Andy approach and get redemption and start to convert your Feitoria. No, actually, Hardy, probably cut this bit because, I shouldn't put it in. If Tristan finds out about it, he'll probably just cut the whole history bit. So where was I? Da Gama. He lost royal favour after his second voyage, although he was able to redeem himself in later years. By 1524, he was a viceroy, setting sail to India for the third and the final time. A very final time, because while he was over there that same year, he died of malaria. Nonetheless, da Gama has gone down in history as one of the most famous explorers Portugal ever produced, helping to usher in a new age of ocean-based trade. But what will his legacy be in Hidden Cup 5? Will he rule the seas and land alike, dispatching those who stand against him? Will he, after all, attempt the much-talked-about new strategy, the Feitoria rush, in seeking victory? Or Will all of his Feitorias just face conversion? Only time will tell.